Assembly is the Land Use Act. Part of the reason why there's some reluctance to pass the Land Use Act is because they believe that if the state governments are the one who own the land, then it will mean that everything underneath the ground as well, which has been the subject of controversy for quite a while, will belong to the state. And some people are not happy with that.
In fact, the whole issue starts from actually what some people call true federalism, where the state itself controls its own resources and then give to the center. And in that way, it could have taken care of all of this particular Land Use Act and all the controlling of the, because all the resources belong to the states. But how well would the state manage resources and knowing exactly what percentage come to the control of the federal? But the issue is as regard to how do we devolve power down to the states. Once that is done, if there is an agreeable position that each of the states will control its own state and then contribute to the center, all well and fine. But it must be listened to. It must be heard. Every other state must be able to come in, and it will allow even competition. Because as it is now, many of our states are only dependent on one-legged economy, which is oil. So
you support that? But do you think that that kind of amendment will ever go through the National Assembly?
No, I support the fact that the National Assembly should be able to listen to all this agitation and then find a way. There are always going to be a middle playing ground for everybody to agree on. It may not be like there are some areas in which the federal government has to have certain control. There's no doubt about it. And then the state will be given its own fair share so that it can control its own state. That way, all of the agitation will stop because majority of the states feel that, okay, the federal government is controlling so much at our own detriment. Some even go to the extent that even if you discover gold, for example, in Zamfara State, you don't have total power to control that particular resources as you are. It must go through the Ministry of Mines and Power and all of those ones before you can even access the land, which is in your own states. So these are some of the areas in which we have problems. So we need to find a way. If certain percentage of the control will be given to the state and certain percentage given to the national, these are only theories that we're just proposing until when that discussion takes place.
There are also questions. Let us not also, the president mentioned two bodies. Let's not heap all the responsibility on the National Assembly, even though they seem to take a large chunk of it. He also talked about the National Council of State.
Correct.
Now, there are fears that the National Council of State is made up of, past leaders. That includes military rulers, people who ruled us militarily, who also gave us this constitution that is now under contention. Now, do you think that the National Council of State will be able to take a decision, for instance, that is against or that, will actually be for the benefit or will be against what it is that it had initially given in the Constitution?
At this point in time, they have no choice. At this point in time, they have no choice because the country is almost going ablaze. So they must take decisions that will be in the interest of uniting this country. And as you know, even some of them already have been clamoring for restructuring. Some of them have been clamoring for some of the things that they didn't even agree to before, but some of them are clamoring for it. So that's to tell you that already this message is sinking deep into them. Remember, it is country first before any other thing. If there's no peace and then there's no reconciliation in this country, none of them will enjoy even whatever they are enjoying at the moment. So they have no choice than to listen and to work towards a united country. Areas of grievances must be addressed. And I'm sure they are fine gentlemen. They will do justice to it.
So do you think that from the president's speech, we get a sense that that is going to happen?
That is exactly what I'm saying. We need to move forward from the speech that Mr. President have made very catchy points and then making it like, okay, fine, these are the position, but we need to advance it as quickly as possible. We don't need to waste any time. In fact, in the next 2 weeks, if not more, they should come back and discuss matters since it's back.
Definitely. I mean, the way you talk about it, it definitely looks like an emergency and something that they should be convening. But he also talked about, safety in general. He talked about terrorism and criminality, and he was saying that they must be fought and destroyed relentlessly so that the majority of us can live in peace and safety. He says, therefore, we're going to reinforce and reinvigorate the fight, not only against elements of Boko Haram, which are attempting a new series of attacks on soft targets, kidnappings, farmers versus herdsmen clashes, in addition to ethnic violence fueled by political mischief makers. We shall tackle them all. Do you really have confidence in that?
Well, for a general, a retired general, the work that's already been done on the security matter, especially in Boko Haram, I believe he can work on that. And then probably here, we need to support this particular call for community policing. And every Nigerian needs to be a security officer of his own so that he can disseminate information where we see things really going wrong. That will help the security apparatus to work. Without information, they will not be able to perform. Some people will see probably a Fulani herdsman walking into a farm and all of that without really making reference to what kind of person